Thank you for coming back to RodezTrip. Now picture this. You're being transported to a strange land where you'll be trapped and forced to fight for your life until the death. Until only one remains. Does this sound familiar to you? Maybe you read in a book, watched a movie about it, played a video game that had a similar premise. Well, if you're into games, you might know that recently PUBG, Player Unknown Battlegrounds, sued Fortnite for having the premise is that they have the same play. They copyrighted them. Now, the thing is, first off, Fortnite had been in development for much longer than PUBG. PUBG pretty much started out as a beta, and people have been playing it up, and they've been updating it regularly. Whereas Fortnite had been in development for, I believe, 5 years or so prior to the release of PUBG. So it was known in the industry. I imagine people were aware of this. On top of that, it's suing them under the premise that the format, basically, or the genre, is a copyright. The thing is, the genre is pretty much free for all, Slayer, shoot 'em up style, battle royale, which is the name of Fortnite. But the thing is, that premise has been around for a really long time. It's basically a gladiator battle. So it's been around since ancient times, the premise. It was also, Battleground itself is a book from Japan where it's the same premise. They take a bunch of people to a location, they lock them in there, and they have to, kill each other until only one is remaining. And even in the video game world, as far back as Wolfenstein and Doom, they had levels like this where you could shoot your friends, but it was really emphasized in the Nintendo 64. That thing that sold that system was a game called GoldenEye. It was 007, and you picked a character, a gun, and walked around rooms or mazes or just like gray walls, and you could shoot your friends, and it was a good time. But this has been around for a while, and it's not like there was even a lull in this, because pretty much any first-person shooter, actually I can't think of a single I'm sure there's some, but I can't think of them, that have this sort of, I guess, a genre, or I don't know, what would you call it? Just a player, a mode where you can just, shoot other people that are actual people instead of just fighting against the game. It's player versus player, man. That's the whole premise. So I don't know what they're trying to sue them for. I know they do have a lot of similarities, but you can't really sue on similarities. I mean, there's only so much originality to go around. And speaking of this, PUBG is a very generic looking game. You have the most basic looking human sprites, basic looking games, and kind of just the generic setting. It's, I guess, giving it an element of realism, but considering the weird costumes and gear you can get to kill each other, which can be purchased outside of the game and is not original content itself, it really doesn't have much of a leg to stand on. Whereas Fortnite has a fairly distinct style, which I personally think is pretty similar to, I think, Team Fortress, but I believe they're under the same company. So that's understandable. It's more of a cartoony look. And if you saw a weapon from Fortnite somewhere else, you might say, that looks kind of like it could be in Fortnite. Whereas if you saw a weapon in PUBG, you would just be like, okay, that's a computer gun. It doesn't look special at all. So I don't know what legs they think they're standing on. Also, they're even licensing the engine that they're using to make this game from the people who make Fortnite. So it just seems like kind of one of those frivolous lawsuits, and I honestly think that they might just be upset that Fortnite stole a lot of the steam that they had, because I constantly heard about PUBG. Everybody, for all the complaints they had about it, which was a ton, people loved playing it. And then Fortnite came out, and it was polished and just really ready to play right off the bat. It was not a beta, which is what PUBG still is to this day. So this is, fixated more towards the gaming world, but is there any other place? Oh, on this channel, we were talking about Buc-ee's, the gas station, suing Choate Canyon, the gas station, over, I guess they both said they had really clean restrooms, and apparently that's special enough that it allowed Buc-ee's to win the case. Clean restrooms is now a trademarkable service, I guess. I don't know. So I guess if you walk into a place that has a clean restroom, you'd let Buc-ee's know and be like, they're stealing your trademark. I don't know. Well, have you guys heard anything else about, where people sort of have a frivolous lawsuit saying that somebody's mimicking them, but it's so generic that how could you do anything more original than that? I don't know. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe. Later, taters.